Get ready for a game changing episode. What if I told you that failure is your secret weapon for success? That's right. Join me for this eye opening journey where we'll challenge conventional wisdom and turn failure into your greatest ally. In a world where we are so obsessed with success, we often forget the untold stories behind that success. In this episode, I'll uncover the hidden power of failure from redefining setbacks to unlocking the true potential of learning. This episode will reshape your perception of success. So excited for this one. Let's go. Welcome to the Immigrant to Millionaire podcast. This is where we study what the wealthiest and most successful people do. Why? Well, because success leaves clues. Not only do we study these successful people, we implement what we learn so that we create the life we want and deserve. My name is Joy Roland, your host. I'm an immigrant that implemented the knowledge I learned from great men and women and became a millionaire in 3 years of arriving in Canada. It's now my mission to share my knowledge with as many people as possible. Pour yourself a cup of coffee or tea. This is going to be fun. Hello, hello, my lovely friend. Welcome to episode 16 of the Immigrant to Millionaire podcast. It's starting to snow here in Ontario, Canada, and I'm loving it. It's one of my favorite seasons. No, I should rephrase that. It is my favorite season. I just love the beauty. When it snows, the beauty is beyond belief, and it just makes me so happy. Now, I have good news for you, my friend. I will be rebranding my podcast very soon. And the reason I'm doing this rebranding is because most of my clients are not immigrants, right? So even though my podcast is Immigrant to Millionaire, many of my clients are not immigrants. And I feel like the name kind of alienates a chunk of my audience, and I don't want that to be the case, right? So my new name is going to be more inclusive. The content is going to be the same, but I just want the name to be more inclusive so that everyone is welcome here. Now, I'm an immigrant myself, and I am so proud of um the success I've created for myself, and I want to help as many people as possible create the same success and even more because I like I want people to achieve more than I have done because that's what makes the world very interesting. So, I'm so looking forward to that. Okay, so let's dive in. Today, we're going to be talking about wanting to fail. Before we dive in, I want to read one review for this podcast written by Alison D. Jordan. The title of our review is Inspirational and Educational. And she writes, anyone can build wealth no matter their background. This podcast is a wealth of practical, tactical tips to build wealth regardless of your background. I highly recommend this podcast. Thank you so much, Alison. I so appreciate you taking the time to write this review. And like it truly means a lot to me. Allison is not an immigrant, and she's one of the reasons why I'm making this podcast more inclusive by changing the name. So she's not an immigrant, and she's found value in the content I share on this podcast. So I'm very excited about that. Now, if you haven't left me a review, please head on over to Apple Podcast and write a review for this show. Every week, I will feature one review so I can personally thank you. Okay, let's dive into today's topic, which I've titled so aptly, I Want to Fail. Now, today's episode is a tribute to the unsung hero of success. And that unsung hero is failure. Yes, you heard that right. Failure, often feared and avoided, can be the catalyst for accelerated growth and achievement. So, buckle up as we dive into the world of failure and why it's the ticket to your success. Now, in episode 15, I explained how our brain has the toddler part and the adult part. Now, if you haven't listened to it, I encourage you to go back and listen to it so you understand what I mean by toddler brain and adult brain. That episode is so good. I had a lot of feedback, amazing feedback from you guys. Now, when you decide on a goal, your primitive brain freaks out. And the first thing it tries to do is discourage you from pursuing the goal because it wants to keep you safe. That's what it thinks it is doing. But you know, using your prefrontal cortex, which is the adult part, you know that doing the thing is what will take you to where you want to go. But your primitive brain thinks, oh no, that's bad. Okay. Now let's face it, failure isn't something we typically celebrate. It's the F word in success conversations. Like often people see it as a mark of shame and they don't want to talk about it. But what if I told you that failure isn't the end of the road, but a necessary detour on your path to greatness? Think about it. Every successful person you admire, entrepreneurs, artists, scientists, they've all encountered failure at some point. Thomas Edison famously said, I've not failed, I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work. Can you imagine that? 10,000 ways. Like, how many of us give up after two times? This guy tried 10,000 times. And if he didn't persist, we wouldn't have electricity like we have it today. Failure didn't deter him, it fueled his determination. So, why should you embrace failure? Well, because it's a teacher in disguise. It shows you what doesn't work, pushing you closer to what does. It toughens your resilience muscles, teaches you valuable lessons, and sharpens your problem solving skills like nothing else can. I challenge you to redefine failure. Don't see it as a setback, but a setup for your next success. I want you to embrace it, learn from it, and keep moving forward. Success isn't about avoiding failure, it's about how you bounce back from it. And the reason I'm encouraging you to embrace failure and to want failure is because it disarms your primitive brain. In fact, it sends it into shock. So remember, I told you in the previous episode that your primitive brain wants to keep you safe. And one of the things it comes up with whenever you say you want to go for a goal, for example, if you say, I want to set up my business, I want to make $1 million per year. When you set that goal, the first thing your brain, your primitive brain will offer is, no, I don't think that's a good idea because I don't want us to fail. Okay? So then when you tell your brain and say, I want to fail, you kind of disarm your brain and you disarm it from giving you excuses, right? Because when you tell your brain, I want to fail, it's gonna freak out and say, what do you mean? You know? So then it just lowers its guard and you're just looking for failure. And when you look forward to failing, what you're doing inadvertently is looking for success because the more you fail, the closer you'll become to success. Now, I'll give you a personal example. A few years ago, when I was in the UK, I had just finished my master's degree from the University of Middlesex, and I applied for a job with the Bank of England, right? It was a very high profile job, and I was going to be working in the same office as the governor of the Bank of England. Like, I wasn't going to be working directly with him, but I would be in his office working on IT projects. Okay. So I applied for the job. I did online assessments first, passed the assessment, and then was invited for an interview. The interview process was so long, there were three phases, right? Like three different interviews with three different audiences. And guess what? I was the person chosen for the job. I got the job offer. I was so excited. And then they sent me the contract for me to read and sign, which I did. And then next thing they asked me for my my work permit to work in the UK. And back then I was on a T2 work permit. And what that meant was I had to be sponsored by my employer, right? So that meant that for me to leave my current job at the time to move to the Bank of England, the Bank of England had to sponsor my work visa, right? So when I explained the situation to them and said, well, you have to help me sponsor the visa. And they came back and said, oh, I'm so sorry. We can only take people who have the right to work in the UK without any issues, like without any hurdles of them having to file with the Home Office. And that, my friend, was how I lost that job. I was so devastated. I was heartbroken. I cried for weeks, like proper cry, you know. But now looking back, if I didn't fail at that job, I will most likely still be in the UK, and I don't think I would have made the kind of money I've made now in Canada, right? Because um, like I just feel it wouldn't have happened. Now looking back now, I see that as the stepping stone of me wanting more for my life. Okay, so I want to encourage you that the fear of failure is keeping you stuck. Yes, it's keeping you from getting out there. You keep thinking to yourself, "Oh, what will people think?" And then you hide in your room. You just stay in your room. You stay in your small life because you don't want to expose yourself to criticism. What will people say on social media? When I try to get clients on social media, people laugh at me when I go live, when I do live trainings, right? Excuses like I'm too fat. This was one I came up with. I'm too fat. And then I found someone who said she's too thin. She thought she was too thin to start a business. Like how crazy is that? Some people think they are too fat. Some people think they are too skinny. Another one is I'm too young. Oh gosh, I'm too young. Another one is I'm too old. Can you imagine that? Some people think they are too young to go for what they want in life, and others think I'm too old. Like, how crazy is that? Like, I'm just giving you all of these examples to see that it's just BS, right? I'm not someone who swears a lot, but I feel I should in this instance. It's BS. And your success lies outside of your comfort zone. You cannot keep doing the same thing over and over and over and over and expect different results. A wise man once said that that's the definition of insanity when you do the same thing over and over and over and expect different results. So if you tell yourself, oh, I want to be successful, my question to you is, what are you willing to do differently? Because I promise you, if you keep doing what you've done so far, like what you've done that have gotten you here, will not take you to where you're going to. Okay, I want you to think about that very, very carefully. Now, let's start with examples. Think about J.K. Rowling's. Before Harry Potter, J.K. Rowling's faced rejection after rejection after rejection from publishers. Yes, can you believe that? Her manuscript was turned down multiple times, but she didn't give up. No, her resilience amidst all of those failures eventually led her to a breakthrough, making her one of the most beloved authors of our time. Then there is Steve Jobs. Did you know Steve Jobs was ousted from his company that he co founded? His failure became a turning point, but instead of wallowing in his pain and failure, he embarked on a journey that led him to triumphant returns, revolutionizing the tech industry with products that have redefined our world. Like, look at the iPhone. Most people in the world now use iPhone and Apple products. Now, if Steve Jobs didn't overcome all of those fear of failure, do you think we would have the kind of gadgets we have now? Another example is Oprah. Do you know Oprah Winfrey, even though she's a household name today, she was told many times that she wasn't fit for television. She faced setbacks after setbacks, public humiliation, public failures, and professional challenges. Yet, she persisted. She used her failure as a fuel to become one of the most influential media personalities of our time. So, my friend, failure is not the end, it is necessary. It's a badge of honor that we wear. And when people wear the badge of honor of failure, it tells us these are people who dared to do great things. So let's shift the narrative. Let's normalize failure as a crucial part of success. As I conclude today's episode, I want to leave you with this: embrace failure, embrace it as a friend, embrace it as a mentor, as a stepping stone to your wildest dreams. Remember, the only true failure is the failure to actually start, the failure to try, because you actually fail ahead of time. Yeah, that's what my coach Brooke Castillo says. She says, "Why do you fail ahead of time? You fail even before you try. That's failing ahead of time. You tell like you don't even try." Thank you, my friend, for listening to today's episode. Don't forget to subscribe and leave me a review so that you can get more empowering conversations like this one. Until next time, embrace failure and keep chasing your dreams. I love you. I truly do. I'll see you in the next episode. So, my friend, if this podcast encouraged, inspired, or taught you something new, please do me a huge favor by leaving me a review. Just go to Apple Podcast, find the show, go to the main page where you see a list of all of the episodes, scroll all the way down to the bottom of the list, and write me a review. This will let me know that all of the hard work I've poured into making this podcast is worth something. I'd also love for you to share this with your friend who could use all of the free value I provide on this podcast. I'd be forever grateful. I believe in good karma, and I know that when you do good things will come back to you 10 times. And lastly, come on over to my Facebook community to get support as you build your empire. This is an exclusive group of high-achieving and ambitious people actively working on getting wealthy. Find the link to the group in the show notes, my friend. I hope to see you back here soon. God bless you.